turn off the lights, do not talk, hide in this corner, and hope for the best. Every year, many times a year, millions of kids are told these specific instructions as they practice hiding from someone whose mission in that moment is to end their lives. Each of these classrooms are full of our future businessmen, businesswomen, engineers, but sadly also our future criminals, and there's nothing we can do about that. Teaching our students what we do, where we hide, and why we hide there is also teaching our future criminals what we do, why we hide, where we hide, and why we hide there. This equals the playing field into a fair game for all, leaving it in the hands of fate to decide who gets to survive this unbelievable situation. The attacker, who most likely attended school at some point in time, knows the procedures and is well aware of our whereabouts and how to work around roadblocks all around the school that are done to keep our students safe, and at this point have now all become invalid. School lockdown drills are doing the opposite of keeping our schools safe, and they should not be practiced throughout the year. Lockdown drills create a sense of horror in every classroom, no matter who you are or your age. You can cause trauma amongst the students learning there every single year, and even the teachers as well. Telling a student they are practicing how to hide from someone who is trying to kill them is traumatizing for anyone, no matter how old they are. A socialist, Devin Magliozzi, says that to prioritize their own survival, they must close the doors to the shooter and the injured, putting to rest the moral questions about leaving others to die. For a child, leaving someone behind, especially one of their potential friends, to die is extremely traumatizing. Even I myself, a senior in high school, would have a hard time moralizing the situation of leaving my friend aside to die just to protect myself. This is scary for the teachers as well. Many students, including myself, live in fear of the possibility of a lockdown occurring. These lockdown drills worry the students and the teachers because the teachers are responsible for the lives of those students if they are placed in this situation. Learning these drills is just another way to scare the students into possible situations that they could be placed in. Throughout their education, they are taught to respect and care for others, to be a bucket filler. But when it comes to lockdown drills, they're expected to simply not care about what is going on the other side of the wall that is supposed to be protecting them, which is not. Lockdown drills can cause fear in a child's mind, always leaving them to wonder about someone entering their learning environment in the main goal of ending their lives. Not only does lockdown drills teach students to leave behind the people they love most, but it teaches them the wrong tactics to survival when placed in a situation such as not only a school shooting, but any sort of mass shooting, mass bombing, anything of the sorts. Janelle Walker, a safety professional, revealed on Elgin Courier News in an interview that a video of a school shooting showed other students in a room hid under the desk while the shooter's gun jammed, not seizing the opportunity to run when they had the chance. This occurred in one of our first major school shootings, the Columbine shooting, where in the library, the librarian told them to stay under their desks and not move. The best tactic we're teaching these kids in these drills is that hiding is best. It is burned into their brain to hide when sometimes it is safer to just get away. Their hiding could cause them to get caught in the crossfire eventually. Because of the lockdown drill procedures that are driven into their brains from such a young age, they are trained to hide and stay when faced in a life-threatening situation, rather than getting away or running if they're given the opportunity. Seth Goldstein, a safety professional from Mobilize Rescue Systems, once said, "Hiding in a bush isn't going to stop a bullet. The same goes for hiding under a desk. Hiding under a desk is not going to stop that bullet from getting to the student. And when that shooter's gun jammed and those students just hid there because that was the only thing they knew how to do, they lost the chance to get away when it could have saved their lives. Getting out of the area is best and the safest option most of the time. The corner of our classrooms are not the safest place for our students. We have some work to do if we want to keep our students safe. Imagine this. The students are placed in the situation of a school shooting. They're hiding under their desk because that is what the teacher told them to do. Maybe with a pair of scissors because the teacher always told them to have something at hand to throw if need be too. The shooter enters the room across the hallway, and you can hear them across the hallway. And there's a window to the outside in your classroom. But instead of the students knowing that getting out of the classroom is safest because they know the shooter isn't outside their classroom, they stay under the desk because they're always told to hide. Eventually, the shooter comes into the classroom where the students just sat, like sitting ducks waiting for them to be found. But because that's the tactic we're teaching them, all those students missed out on the opportunity to get away when they had the chance. We strive for safer school communities, yet we won't adjust the budget to place bulletproof rooms attached to each classroom, which could be the innovation to keep our schools safe if more school shootings occur. These rooms are a much safer option, and then we can easier place children in them among teacher direction. Rather than having to do drills all the time, it would always just be a get in the room situation, rather than having to run through these lockdown drills multiple times a year and scarring the children. This would eliminate that scarring experience of doing lockdown drills throughout the year. It also keeps from teaching students to stay still and just hide under a desk, which is not going to protect them in that situation. The opportunity of a bulletproof room is a tremendous idea and can be made adaptable depending on where they will go. In 1999, there were 32 deaths in Columbine, whereas there were 12 deaths in the Mark Orrin Barton mass shooting. This is because the students hid instead of getting away when the opportunity presented itself, whereas in the Mark Orrin mass shooting, only 12 people died compared to the 32 because those people knew to run away and knew to get out of the situation. Same goes for the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, where 27 children died, whereas there was only one death when multiple criminals opened fire at a Tennessee club. If those students had the opportunity to get away rather than hiding, chances are more of them would have survived. Or if they were able to go into a bulletproof room, more of those students would have survived that unmindly situation. The children hiding in the schools are dying. The people free to run are surviving. What has been failed to be considered is that shooters such as Nikolas Cruz had previously attended high school, and he happened to attend the high school that he decided to shoot at. Nikolas Cruz knew where the students would be, and he knew their schedule. He knew where they were at the time and where to find them best and where students were most vulnerable to his end goal. Teaching students where to hide is very harmful in the long term. It should be enforced that in the situation, students instead, if placed in these life-threatening situations, listen to a teacher's instructions rather than having to practice throughout the year. This entails that all teachers would also have to go through intense training before the school year starts, including mock school shootings to show what situations are best and have the best survival rates for their students. Engraving these false survival tactics into the minds of children are also giving impending criminals an advantage over forthcoming schools and families. Lockdown drills are more threatening to the safety of our schools rather than protecting to them. With no lockdowns and no bulletproof rooms, we could keep thousands of kids safe for years to come. We can't 100% prevent them, but we can change the ways we go about them to save lives and mental stability of all the younger generations. It is in our hands to put forth the effort to save these younger generations by putting in the bulletproof rooms.